I just received my favorite Futurama character in the mail today, CAD BANE. Oh, I'm sorry, this is CAD BANE. My apologies. CAD BANE. Thank you, Sideshow, for getting me this so super fast. Looks like they decided to put the animation on the front and the product on the back. You know, I'll be the first to tell you, when the Clone Wars came out, I had zero interest in it at all. I went to see the film in theaters and walked out going, I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it. Several years went by, and before the series had finished its 6th season, I actually was hanging out with some good friends of mine, and he had 2 young sons who were super into the prequels and the Clone Wars, and basically they sat me down one day and said, sit down, shut up, you're gonna give it a try. And I am thankful to them. After watching the adorable little Twi'lek kid come up and get help from the clones, I was like, all right, this is pretty endearing. And about a year later, and 6 seasons, I was blown away. And my 2 standout characters, which I'm sure most people could agree on, were CAD BANE and Ahsoka Tano. CAD BANE is definitely in my top 10, maybe in my top 5 of favorite Star Wars antagonists. I will say I was not a fan overall of the Book of Boba Fett show, and I did not like CAD BANE's representation visually and the way he was written into the script. I liked his presence. I felt that he felt right, but I don't think he looked right. And that's not a knock against the special effects artists or anybody that worked on the show. They're incredible. Everyone who works at ILM, I've been a fan of you and your company and everything that you guys do over there since I was 6 or 7 years old. But I just didn't sit right with me, and let's be honest, the show was not good. I am a huge fan of the steampunk genre and style, and I feel like CAD BANE, especially this version of CAD BANE, looks very, very steampunk. Clearly, he's influenced by Wild Wild West and Westerns, which is very Star Wars, likely why we have a design that ended up like this, or whatever it happens to be. I'm a fan of this aesthetic, this color scheme, and these textures. This is a winner for me. I am really, really impressed by the soft goods that Sideshow has put on this. Definitely, it's pleather, it's thin. I know a lot of people have concerns about pleather, but trying to go the real leather route would be much too expensive and laborious. The stitching on his coat is very, very fine. I really, really am happy with it. I like the way the accoutrement and the little lapels and things are affixed. I really, really love his belt and his coat. I like the faux suede material that it's made out of. I like the buttons. I think they're put together well. It's actually much higher quality than I was thinking it was going to be. The hat is cast plastic, but that's kind of expected if you want it to keep its shape. I did not like the hat in the Book of Boba Fett show. This is the hat that I like. It's actually magnetic too, which is really, really cool. It's not going to fall off of him if you have him in crazy poses. And I think the face turned out really, really, really stellar. From a distance, it doesn't even look cartoony or comic booky. You get up really close, you can see elements of cell shading in the way they've chose to do the scars on his face. It's black lines on blue skin, so it looks a little animated when you get really close. Either way, I think it sells quite well. I think this is going to look good next to pretty much any other Star Wars figure, whether it's animated themed or not. I love his sort of chap-esque leggings. The boots and the greaves look great. I'm very impressed by the magnetic feature. It is extremely strong, as you can see, as well as the magnet here on his little side pouch. Now, the side pouch doesn't actually have any room inside of it. It's a solid brick of plastic, but I'm fine with that. I wouldn't be putting anything in it anyways. Toto has got some limited articulation. That's because of the nature of the design of the droid. He's got little sort of ball swivel joints at his shoulders, a ball swivel joint that's got some limited side to side, but a lot of front and back articulation at his neck. He's got ball joints at his hips. I will say though, the knee joints and the ankle joints do not bend. Be very, very careful when positioning him. I am kind of grabbing the whole leg when I move this leg, especially because I fear that I'll break it. The little booster effects, they do actually fit in nice and tight, but I will caution you on taking them out. You could break the leg. So what I've been doing is I have been holding the leg and the actual booster together to put it in and take it out. You just push it in, it might fall right out like that. But if you push in and twist, it seems to be quite strong and it doesn't want to come out. There is no abdomen articulation, even though you can see that zigzag shape in there. It's a little wiggly. I tried to see if there was any bend. There is not, so be mindful. That is not meant to bend. It does have some flexibility though, and his little hole there for going on the stand. He's got that Dexter's Diner vintage toaster look that I really dig. I think he's a fun complement to such a dark character as CAD BANE. I do really like these hands. I think they are animation accurate. They're detailed very nicely. They're quite robust and sturdy. I would be tempted, I don't have the Book of Boba Fett CAD BANE, but I would be tempted to see what the CAD BANE hands look like on this figure. I honestly only have 2 real issues with this figure, and they're super minor, so keep that in mind. One of them I'm only really bringing up because I paint things and I make things. By the way, if you like to paint things and you like to make things, hit the like and hit the subscribe. I've got a cool video on how to build a diorama coming up real soon for you. I think the Mandalorian gauntlets, the forearm pieces here, fits the cartoon right off the screen perfectly, but I do feel like the actual silver paint was laid on a little thick in a few areas. I wish it was applied with a little bit more fineness to it, but I understand at this price point and at this level that they probably couldn't have done any more than that. And again, it's a very minor nitpick. The other thing is the elbow is double jointed, but because of the nature of the shape of the bicep and the piece here on the forearm gauntlet, that's as far as you can get. You get a little bit past 90, which is great, but the only reason I'm even bringing it up is I would love if I could get him into a position where he could tip his hat. And with even moving the abdomen forward and the head forward, that's as close as I can get. You see right there, that's as close as I can get. I can kind of finagle it, but that's about, yeah, that's as close as I can get it to try to have him tip his hat. So you can kind of fake it from the front there. If you just position it perspective-wise, you can make it look like he's tipping his hat. So those are really the only 2 issues I have. The ankle joints seem quite sturdy. The knees are very sturdy. The knees are also double jointed. The pants have enough given them to where they're quite flexible. Doesn't go out to the side, front or back too dramatically, but there is a nice movement in there that feels very safe. There is a pretty good amount of back crunch and there's a little bit of ab crunch. For my purposes, I'm pretty satisfied for what this figure can do articulation-wise. I would have liked a little bit more, but I think this is a winner. I'm very happy with this, especially over the Book of Boba Fett version that I didn't really like. I am going to do something I don't normally do here in my videos, just out of curiosity. I'm going to take a look at what he looks like under a black light. I wouldn't say that this is something that needs to be done for any figure in any case, but it is interesting to take a look and see how paint may have been applied. Sometimes that's an indication of how long it's going to last or the quality of the paint. So you can see here on his chaps, he's got some striping that's been applied with a brush, probably UV cured under a UV light such as this. And he's got some weathering here on the fronts of his boots in the same manner. And on the tops of his gloves. You can see there on the tops of his hands of his gloves is a pretty bright orange color. That seems to be about it. Everything else, the eyes do have quite a glow to them. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but the eyes glow quite a bit. There is no other paint weathering anywhere else. This is also a way to find flaws in sealant or in any type of application that you may not see under normal lighting conditions. But this actually looks really, really great. I took a look at this earlier just off camera and I couldn't really find anything unsatisfactory. But it is interesting to see how the striping was done there. Taking a look at Toto here, he's got some wash and weathering applied to the face. You can see there's a wash applied to the face to make it look a little bit weathered. It's done in pretty much a standard way. And those little flame effects glow quite a bit under the black light. That's pretty fun to look at. Everything else is painted into that first layer and sealed onto the plastic. This weathering is put over that layer as a finish layer. So you could actually remove this if you wanted to very, very easily with some denatured alcohol. The hat doesn't seem to have any weathering on top of any of the initial layer of paint and under the first layer of sealant, but it looks great. You see how clean that is? There's nothing that stands out. Very well done. So here he is next to Boba from Book of Boba. I do feel like he isn't Hot Toys accurate scale to this Boba Fett, which obviously he shouldn't be. He's not intended to be. he's intended to be in the animated line that Sideshow has produced, but it does look pretty cool next to him. I feel like for him to be scale accurate to this Boba, he'd have to be about an inch taller and a lot thicker, but it does look pretty cool, I have to say, standing next to him. Let me try a little perspective shift here to see if I just move the perspective, if it could sell it. Yeah, I think if CAD's a little closer to the camera, it works. All you photographers out there, can't wait to see what you do with this guy. And here he is next to the Silver Surfer, which looks pretty cool, I gotta say. I love the futuristic Wild West aesthetic that Jon Favreau pulled off really well with The Mandalorian, and I think this version of CAD Bane fits even better to me for some of the reasons I explained before. The aesthetics and the stylistic look and feel of the characters. Really, really like the way these two look together. I am extremely happy with my purchase. I'm really glad that I got this CAD Bane. And I think he will be staying in the collection for a long time, if not forever. But what do you think? Do you think this is worth it, worth the price of admission? Are you interested in it? Did you like the Clone Wars? What is the purpose of life? Why are we here? Tell me in the comments below. I need to know.